My name is Dan. I look after brand, content, and communications here at Make, and we're really excited to have you join us today. Of course, we're going to hear about some of the great, very smart stuff that Celonis is doing with LinkedIn and Make to level up their go-to-market approach. But most importantly today, we're going to focus on making sure you leave today's webinar with valuable insights and hopefully feeling very inspired to take some of what you've learned and put it to work in your own organization. We've got two really great speakers with us today, so we're going to introduce them to get us started. First of all, we have Christina, who leads performance marketing at Celonis. Christina, do you want to give us a quick intro to yourself and also tell us a little bit more about what Celonis does for those of us who are new to the organization?
Sure. Hi, Dan. Thank you. So my name is Christina Bloyd, and I'm heading the performance marketing team. I've been in digital marketing now for more than 11 years and at Celonis for more than 3. And Celonis really, what's at the heart of that is that we help businesses fix their processes. And what my team does more specifically is everything having to do with paid digital media as well as SEO.
Amazing. Thank you, Christina. No doubt a very important part of the journey that Celonis has been on, and looking forward to hearing about how you and your team have been fueling that together with LinkedIn and with Make. We also have Andreas with us today, who's an account director at LinkedIn. I think it's fair to say to this audience that LinkedIn needs no introduction. But Andreas, tell us a little bit more about what you do at the organization.
Sure. Thank you. Hi, Dan. Hi, Christina. So my name is Andreas. I work in LinkedIn as account director for the last 2 years, helping tech and software clients to grow through our platform, finding new clients, strengthening their brand. And I've been working together with Christina and her team over the last 2 years, working together collaboratively to grow Celonis through LinkedIn.
Very exciting. Exciting to hear about the journey you've been on together. And like I said, my name's Dan. I'm going to be your moderator today. And so we'll mostly be hearing from Christina and Andreas. But just to give you a couple of words about Make before we get started. So Make, for those of you who aren't familiar with us, is a visual automation platform that allows you to connect around 1,700 different apps you work with all of the time. And it's incredibly powerful. You can create automations in just a couple of clicks, connecting apps that don't normally talk to each other to bridge some of the lost connections and unlock the hidden value that exists in some of your processes and workflows. Our customers tell us it makes them incredibly agile, able to achieve things very fast that they wouldn't normally otherwise have been able to achieve. And you'll see on the next slide that we serve more than 100,000 different active organizations today with a very, very diverse range of customers, from Celonis, which we're hearing about today, all the way through to more traditional institutions like BNY Mellon and innovative trailblazers like the social influencer management platform, JellySmack. All right, that's enough from me and about Make just for now. So like I said, we're going to spend about 30 to 40 minutes hearing from Christina and Andreas today. And we want to make sure there's plenty of time for any questions that you might have as well. If you do have questions as we go today, you can go ahead and drop them in the Q&A section. There's going to be a few of us answering those questions for you in the background today. But if you do have one that's particularly juicy, we'll put it to Christina and Andreas as we get towards the end of the discussion. All right, Christina, to give us a bit of context, I think it's fair to say Celonis has been on a real growth rocket ship over the past couple of years, no doubt related to your presence in the organization as well. Tell us a little bit more about that growth story.
Absolutely. So Celonis started in 2011, and since then, now today, we have more than 3,000 employees, and we've helped more than 5,000 enterprise businesses. And in our last valuation, we were at $13 billion, which actually makes us a decacorn, which is a new term, which we're really proud of.
Amazing. Very, very exciting. And, like I say, I think your team has been an important part of that growth. Tell us a little bit more about your objectives and how have you organized the team, branded the team, talked about yourselves internally to deliver against those objectives and to play that such a big role in that growth?
Absolutely. So our wider team had a rebranding last year where we went from demand generation team to GTM marketing. And this was done for two reasons. One of them was because we really wanted to make sure that we're aligning to the GTM strategy and goals and that we're really supporting that. But also we felt that demand generation didn't fully express the full funnel, right? So we really do want to be doing this full funnel marketing and not only looking at demand generation or lead generation when it comes to those things. So that was something that was really important for us in the rebranding of our wider team.
Makes a lot of sense. All right. And, driving that growth, obviously finding and engaging the right audience is very important. I think it's fair to say LinkedIn has played a really important role here. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. LinkedIn is a key partner for us because, as you can see, these are the different campaigns that we have going on. So we have persona campaigns that are very much ICP driven. And because of LinkedIn's rich professional data and their firmographics, we can really make sure that we're reaching the right people. Same thing with our ABM plays. We do everything from very specific one-to-one to one-to-many campaigns, and we're able to do that because of LinkedIn and being able to know that we're reaching those right companies. And then we have additional things like Bombora or G2, which that intent data we can actually push right into LinkedIn. And then we have our events, which not are only in person, but also virtual webinars, which are great to also have advertised in LinkedIn.
Awesome. Yeah, I think just goes to show the breadth and sophistication of what you can achieve with LinkedIn. Andreas, I'd love to bring you in here a little bit and maybe just comment a bit on how Celonis are using LinkedIn. What do you see them doing that's particularly effective? And is there anything that maybe other folks on this webinar today should be thinking about that they could learn from what Celonis are doing?
Certainly. So I think there's a couple of reasons why Christina's team has been particularly successful. I would say one would be that they use all the targeting capabilities of LinkedIn that you already said. They're using the data that's available to them. They also get data from their own sales team, which is really important to collaborate with the sales team and continuously to see what works and what doesn't. They are very good at ABM targeting and retargeting, but they also fully embrace a full funnel strategy, leveraging all the ad formats. So not only going for lead gen ads, single image ads, but they really use all the formats, document ads, video ads, and even recently connected TV to strengthen their brand on other channels.
Nice. All right, Christina, it sounds like you're not holding back. Very good. The full funnel approach, you both talked about it. Obviously, we took a quick look at that slide as well, and it's clearly fundamental. Now, I'm excited to hear about what you're doing all the way through the funnel, but I'd love to start as someone who's interested in brand myself, and that's my normal wheelhouse. I'd love to start at the beginning. Christina, tell us a little bit about what you're up to at the brand awareness stage and at the very beginning.
Yeah, I mean, as a marketer, I think it can be really hard to prove the value of brand or awareness campaigns because it doesn't have those KPIs that the executive team is looking for. So you really need to find the ways that you can actually measure that, right? What is the impact if you're investing in awareness and so on? And that's where we've had a lot of success with LinkedIn and being able to leverage, for example, in platform brand lift testing, B2B Edge program, or even the Nielsen surveys have really helped us to be able to prove that value of that type of investment there.
Okay, yeah, makes a lot of sense. And I think, Andreas, there are some programs that you've been working on together with Christina, which certainly I'm very interested to hear more about myself as a brand guy. Would you mind telling us a little bit more about that?
Of course not. So there's a couple of things that you can do if you want to try out brand lift measurement yourself. So first of all, what is a brand lift study? How do you benefit from it? So there's three reasons why you should do it. A, you get a baseline of your current brand awareness. Many companies are not even aware how is your brand currently perceived, how many people know who you are. So you get a baseline from the control group, basically telling you where you are currently. Secondly, it helps you to test and learn, because the brand lift study also tells you how much impact did you have with your current campaign on these perception. And then thirdly, it helps you to optimize and like use the learnings to like see, okay, what works and what doesn't to achieve the results I want to get, and improve your brand over time. And there's like a lot of different metrics that you can like measure. I've brought like a little overview of like the top used ones, and there's more that you can choose from on the unplatform measurement tool, but these are like the more common ones, sorted by like basically top funnel to further down the funnel. So if like this is here, like if someone in the audience wants to test the brand study for the first time, I would recommend starting with something like ad recall or aided awareness, which is more upper funnel, and ask people like, okay, do you remember if you have seen an ad of this company, or do you have have you heard of this company? And then when you see traction there, then you can go further down the funnel with additional questions like brand familiarity or product consideration, further down the road, basically. And then thirdly, Christina also mentioned B2B Edge, which is like our like flagship program with our partner B2B Institute. This is like a 12-month program which we go through with enterprise clients, where we go like in depth on like different parts of what a brand is and how you can improve it, from a strategy module to like how to improve your creatives, using internal data, and like then finally also how to measure the impact on a more sophisticated level.
Amazing. Andreas, you said obviously this B2B Edge program is more for your enterprise clients, but tell us a little bit more about just how we can leverage some of these and what the process looks like for getting involved should we want to.
Certainly. So the like normal on-platform studies that Christina mentioned in the beginning, they are like free to use for everybody. So I can highly recommend it to anyone already having running campaigns, because it just gives you additional insight on how the budget that you're currently already spending is impacting your brand perception and your awareness levels and so on. And yeah, they are really easy to set up also in the campaign manager tool. So there's really no downside on doing so.
Interesting. We're going through a OKR process at the moment, so I'm wondering if maybe there's going to be some useful juice here for me to go back and show my boss down the line. Very good. Thank you. Christina, speaking as someone who might be interested in myself, how's your experience been of these programs, and what's that journey been like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's been super helpful because it's opened up a lot of conversations, right? Once you start knowing what percentage of your audience actually is recalling your ads, is actually familiar with your brand and so on, you can really start shaping and testing out. I believe so much in testing and experimenting, and then seeing how those results change. So um, as you can see here, we use a lot of different ad formats. We love document ads because you can consume the information right in the platform, or if you're using it for lead generation, you can give a sneak peek of the PDF before they download it. So this has worked really great for us, or even like with the videos. I mean, I think now so much, everything that we're seeing, videos are so engaging and people really love that type of content. And you don't have to use these only in the top of funnel, but you can also use them further down the line. So that's also really great how versatile that is.
Yeah, I think speaking as a Brit, seeing an ad about making a cup of tea is something that really resonates with me, and no doubt will help your next brand results. So yeah, absolutely. All right, so we've talked a little bit about what's going on kind of earlier at the earlier stages. But Christina, maybe stepping through a bit further down the funnel, can you walk us through sort of how this then plays out at kind of the demand and lead gen stages?
Absolutely. So we started working with Make almost 2 years ago now. And what we saw here is that we had a previous tool, we couldn't trust it. There were a lot of leads falling through the cracks. Every single month we had to comb through, make sure that we weren't using them, manually upload. It also made it so that we couldn't activate as many campaigns and lead generation. So we were bringing people to the website directly, and that was also losing a lot of traffic and leads along the way. So once we started working with Make, that helped us increase by 50% the amount of leads that were coming in, and as a byproduct that also brought down our CPL drastically, right? So this was really key to being able to get to those objectives that we were setting at a company level. And we really started small. As you can see on the left, this was our first scenarios for Make were very easy, just grabbing the leads from LinkedIn and pushing it into our CRM. So very simple, but as we grew, we had more than 100 different scenarios active. So we worked with Make and we saw how we could scale. And even though this could look scary because there's lots of modules on the scenario on the right, it's actually really simple for us because it's just one G sheet where we put all the information of the different scenarios and it grabs it and it populates to the right place. So we're really happy to see how at the beginning it was really great to start in a more simple way, but then as we grew, we were able to scale also very easily.
Amazing. Yeah, I love seeing these scenarios, the kind of how it started, how it's going, and just seeing how Make can scale and evolve and kind of grow with different businesses' needs. So obviously, looks like what you're doing here then is essentially taking leads from multiple different places and routing them to the right place with a Make integration. Amazing. And I mean, yeah, I think it's fair to say that lead routing is a really common use case for how people use Make. And a lot of people will start with things with integrations similar to the ones that you see on the left-hand side, but being able to build in more sophisticated use cases and more sophisticated scenarios depending on what you're trying to achieve, I think is really one of the useful things, right? That you can almost build the infrastructure in any way that you envision, which is super helpful. Amazing. Well, it sounds like the growth story has been pretty significant so far, and you've been using a lot of different bits of technology and things that are at your disposal, but no doubt you don't want it to stop. So what do the next steps look like, Christina?
Absolutely. So in the next couple months, we have a few different things planned on the roadmap to continue our partnership with Make. The first one has to do with matched audiences. So right now, as I explained, we do a lot of ABM targeting, and we have to do manual uploads each time. It's not in real time as well as the different accounts move into different stages and so on. So we're really excited to see how we can implement matched audiences so that, we can save manual time as well as having a lot more accurate targeting when it comes to the companies. So that's one thing that we're definitely working on in the next couple months to see how we can implement that. And then secondly, we're also looking into offline conversions. As we know, as we go into a cookieless world with Chrome users in the next few months and so on, uh, offline conversions is definitely the future. And so that's something that we're also really excited about. We've done this with other platforms and we've seen a lot of success being able to leverage offline conversions. And we know that soon we'll also be able to use the conversion API. So this is something that I think is going to be invaluable and really bring us to the next level.
I want to come back to the conversion API in just a second. I think it might be obvious to some of us, or to you certainly as a sort of a pro user, but just to come back to matched audiences, can you tell us a little bit, for those of us who may be a little bit earlier in our journey, tell us a little bit why matched audiences are so important in your ABM approach.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, where we're getting our information is from our CRM, right? Which are our target accounts, which are the accounts we want to be targeting depending on the different campaigns and so on. But it's very manual. So I have to download them, I have to upload them. We have to be continuously trying to um, keep those updated. So at the end of the day, having it just completely synced would save us a lot of manual time as well as being a lot more accurate with our targeting.
Amazing. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So essentially kind of making sure you can target the right folks in a much more structured and sophisticated way.
Correct.
Awesome. All right. So we touched a little bit on conversions, on the Conversions API. And again, just sort of almost the same question, but about Conversions API. For those of us who are learning a bit more about it, perhaps, I'm not sure if Andreas, you want to jump in and tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, sure. So Christina already mentioned they're already using conversions online and offline, but like now LinkedIn is also offering a direct connection, which allows you to upload the marketing data from your server directly to LinkedIn, and like make your results like more measurable, be it online conversions, be it offline conversions. You can directly connect LinkedIn with your source of truth through like different connections. One of them will also be Make in the future. In the next months, this feature will also be released on Make, I already heard, which is really great because Kapi has like a couple of different advantages. So as Christina said, in a cookieless world, like you have to improve your measurement as good as you can to really be able to still see the impact, to be able to prove the impact that you do with your marketing budget. And currently, a lot of software clients are under extreme efficiency pressure. So it is extra important that you are able to prove and see what are you doing with your marketing budget and where is it efficient, or where there might be potential for improvements. And yeah, so we also tested this in LinkedIn in 2023. We ran a beta test. So we saw, I think, a 31% increase in attributed conversions and a 20% decrease in cost per conversion. So definitely two good reasons to implement API conversion API with LinkedIn.
Amazing. Nice results there. Very good. All right. I think we sort of covered the key questions we wanted to delve into today in terms of the functionality and the journey that Christina, you've been on with LinkedIn and Make. But maybe just to zoom out a little bit more and kind of reflect. You've been with obviously in the space for a fair while, and with Celonis for a couple of years, for 3 years now. How do you feel looking back on this journey? If you think about where you started, where you are now, and how things look, how do you feel about it?
I mean, I'm very proud of the team and all the accomplishments we've been able to do through the partnerships. Also very thankful, we wouldn't have been able to get to those places alone. So, right. So I think it's so important to be able to be grateful for being able to implement all these things and see the whole journey at the end of all of this.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes sense, right? I think these things, having such a sophisticated and performance setup is never easily earned. So yeah, I think you're right to feel proud. Certainly looking on myself and snagging some inspiration here. All right. Well, I think we're going to jump to Q&A in a second. Now feels like a good time to pause. What I might just do though, first of all, just or maybe to kick us off. In fact, what I'll just say is if you do want to ask a question, you can drop a question in the Q&A section. We're going to come to them in just a moment. So do feel free to drop a question in there if you have one. But maybe this is a question for both of you, and maybe I'll start with you, Andreas. If you have any advice maybe for people on how to get started who are thinking about their next steps. I think we're looking here at what Christina has achieved with LinkedIn, and there's some pretty sophisticated stuff here. Where would you recommend someone thinks about getting started?
Sure. So like looking back at what we talked about today, I think so the importance of a full funnel strategy and like how to measure that, right? So I would say two key takeaways that anyone doing LinkedIn marketing here can take home is to experiment with different formats if you're not doing already. You know, if you have not done document ads so far, you should try them out. If you've never done video ads, you should try them out. And if you think about branding, like try to set up some sort of measurement. As I said, the on-platform measurement tool is available for free. And then once you see results there, you can like go further down the road, partner with companies like Nielsen, which Celonis is doing through LinkedIn also. But it's, I think, getting started on this is like the most important step, and then it will develop over time, like it did with Celonis also.
Makes sense. Very smart. Thank you, Andreas. Christina, anything you would add to that, or maybe very controversially choose to disagree with? I don't know.
No, I mean, I completely agree. And, Rome wasn't built in a day, right? So be patient, go step by step. And it took us, 2 years to be able to get to where we're at now. So definitely take it, one step at a time.
All right. Well, it's quiet in the Q&A section. I suspect you may have done a great job of answering the questions from our participants today. But I do have a couple of questions. I'm going to selfishly steal the microphone, retain it for myself, and ask a couple of questions of my own, if that's all right. But like I say, the Q&A is open if anyone wants to ask something. We do have a question from an anonymous attendee, actually. So let's maybe jump into that. So we have a question here asking how important lead magnets are when setting up a LinkedIn campaign. I don't know if Andreas or Christina, either of you want to jump in there.
I mean, if we're talking about that the objective is to get leads, what we've seen in our experience is that it's a lot easier to get the leads within the platform versus sending them to a website. This is for many reasons. One of them, of course, being that a lot of the information is already pre-populated, so it makes it a lot friendlier. We're also not trying to get the user away from LinkedIn, so they get to stay within the platform. But overall, I mean, we just saw incremental growth when we were actually using lead gen forms within the platform. But of course, then you need to get them to your CRM somehow. And that's where Make really came in to be able to automate that and not, be doing manual uploads, which of course would not be ideal in this situation.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Christina. All right, I'm going to ask you a quick question of my own. I'd love to hear a little bit more, Christina, about how you approach the brand lift functionality, and how do you use that to influence your or maybe some of the other insights you've developed as well, and how you've used that to influence your decision making.
Yeah, so a lot of it is being able to give feedback within the teams, right? Because we have a pretty big marketing team in-house, so we have design, content, etc. So for us to be able to know, tracking our ad recall depending on what campaigns we have live, or how our brand familiarity is going up or down depending on the campaigns that we have live. This is really great feedback to know whether or not what we're doing is resonating with the audience and what makes it more catchy or more memorable to our audience. So that has been really great to then work with other teams and be able to show them that data and then come up collaboratively with brainstorming of new ideas or ways that maybe we can, continue to improve those metrics. So that has been, yeah, really, really amazing, because before we didn't have visibility on those types of metrics.
Yeah, it's certainly a part of the journey that's often been difficult to track. So very helpful to hear a bit more about that. We have another question here, and I'm not sure to what extent Salesforce Pardot plays a part of your infrastructure or not, Christina. But the question is just asking that now there's a freshly released Salesforce Pardot app in Make. Will this improve your usage of Make even more in this context? So yeah, for anyone who's not aware, there is now a direct integration with Salesforce Pardot within Make, obviously making those integrations even easier.
Yeah, so we do use Pardot, and it's not something that yet we've been using, obviously, because it's new. So I am excited to see how we can leverage this. If this is going to be one of the ways that we can create the customer match audiences, for example, integration, or does it need to be directly with Salesforce and things like that? So something that we'll be experimenting with for sure, and seeing how that can further, help us with our goals.
Amazing. There are also, I've just had a couple of other questions about Make specifically as well. So first one asking if there are any ready created integrations available for Make, to which the answer is yes. There is a template section on our website if you head to make.com. And also a question just around the pricing model for Make. So there's essentially a free plan. If you want to get started and try it out, you can head to make.com and give it a go. But you can also sign up for plans online, depending on the complexity, the sophistication, and the volume of automations you want to conduct. And if you are a real automation pro, or you want to get your organization to a high level of automation maturity quickly, we also have an enterprise plan available that the team can help you get set up. All right, I'm just taking a look to see if there are any other questions. The Q&A is still open. If not, we will just wrap up early. I'm just having a look. Oh, I do have another question here for Christina, which is just around what is your recommendation for ABM marketing if someone, or for ABM if someone is just getting started, how to get started with ABM?
For us, the way that we started was really grouping them into the different buckets. So ABM can have many definitions, and when I've worked with different organizations, one organization thinks ABM is one thing, another organization thinks it's another. So I think what helped us was really first form that pyramid. So which accounts did we want to target one-to-one? Which ones did we want to target one-to-few? So maybe like industries, and then which ones were going to be one-to-many, and then what was going to be the content for each one. Of course, identifying which accounts were so important that we really wanted to target one-to-one, and personalizing those ads through different ways, whether it was the ad copy, calling them out specifically, using their logos, etc. Or maybe at an industry level, right? Like knowing, okay, automotive industry is really interesting for us. We're going to do a one-to-few campaign where we really are making sure it's relevant to that specific industry. So I think really being able to set up that planning and that strategy as to the accounts and which ones are important, and then from there, the content and way that you advertise and so on will fall into place.
All right. Christina, I'm very tempted to keep asking you questions, like the sophistication that you must have around sort of organizing around different industry types, the different segments you're going after, given the nature of the business, and therefore how that translates into infrastructure is fascinating. I am, however, going to draw us to a close because we can always follow up on that separately. This has really been a fascinating discussion, so I just want to thank you both for taking the time to walk us through the journey that you've been on. And I'm feeling very motivated, excited, inspired. I've got plenty of ideas I want to go back and try. Despite the fact I've been involved in planning this webinar, suddenly, for some reason today, it's all kicked into real enthusiasm. So I'm going to just take us through a quick recap. We have a quick recap slides to jump into. If we jump onto that, if not, I can also walk us through it. So I think the key takeaways to take away from today, the first one being around LinkedIn and how it offers highly relevant targeting to advertisers, to us, to help us bring in our own data to enrich our campaigns. The second interesting thing here is around how you can generate leads in an automated way using forms that are pre-filled in with LinkedIn. And then obviously you can leverage Make to increase time to value and to get that information over to the people who need it and can start actioning it as quickly as possible. And finally, you can also increase attributed conversions and decrease cost per action with the conversion API, which is already on LinkedIn, already hard at work, and soon to be offered by Make in the coming weeks and months. All right. So just to wrap us up then, you will see a feedback form as we close out the session. So do keep an eye out for that, and please do let us know how everything went. But most of all, thank you for joining. We wish you all the best. Excited to see where you go with the benefit of today's insights. We'll see you all soon. Thank you.